Wow! It's 2 minutes to late night!
All right, what's up, lobster raviolis? Welcome to Pod Minutes to Cast Night, the 2 Minutes to Late Night podcast. You're here with the 2 Minutes to Late Night Writers Room. I'm Arsenio Hall, or Jordan Olds. Actually, I'm just Jordan Olds right now. I'm just a voice. It doesn't matter.
Hey, I'm Drew Kaufman, also known as Kevin, the sound guy.
I'm Katie Rose Leon, America's sweetheart. I'm writer.
America's writer, Katie Rose Leon.
She wrote all 50 states.
I'm Lucy Steiner. I'm Saudi Arabia's writer. I like to think of myself.
And I'm Jeremy Hammond, and I'm an anthropomorphic horse.
He's beautiful. Guys, so since we have like a talk show, we can't really just do the show like as a podcast. That wouldn't be very fun. It would just be a very boring version of you just wouldn't see anyone go through a table. So how this podcast is going to work is we are going to do a series of just listening to albums that are generally considered to be terrible, and we're going to do our best to pull some positives from them. And today, we're going to start off with the very famous Metallica train wreck, Saint Anger, which is an album that I was very excited for when I was a child, and it was 2003. I listened to it one time, and I lied to myself, trying to convince myself that I liked it, and then I knew that I was lying to myself, and I didn't listen to it until a week ago.
Truly the Phantom Menace of Metallica albums.
Oof.
Yeah. No, it really is. It's got so many parallels.
I think, do we all have Saint Anger stories? Because I have a little bit of a Saint Anger story.
I have a Saint Anger story that really transitions nicely from that, which is...
Go ahead.
So my brother and I, when we were growing up, were huge Metallica fans, and we were so psyched on the album. We went to, I want to say it was Tower Records, to go get a copy of it, right? When it came out. Day it came out, we were there, we got the record, put it in the stereo in his car on the way back, and I think Frantic is the first song, or is it Saint Anger? James already curses. He curses in the first song. And I just remember my brother driving the car and just being like, man, what the hell? And I'm like, what? And he's like, Metallica never used to curse. And I'm like, we curse. And he's like, yeah. But it was like a live thing for them, you know? Like, that was the thing. Because, like, they would play, you know, like, in, like, little instrumental breaks, and James go, motherfucker!
In the first song, the first chorus, he says, fuck it all, fucking no regrets.
Yeah.
Like, you can't put two fucks that close together.
You can around the time you get your first tattoo.
Oh, my God.
Because I think that's what he did that summer. Do you have a story?
I have a story because I only just listened to this album today.
Yeah.
And it's the only Metallica album I've ever listened to.
Yeah, that's going to be the best part about having Lucy on this podcast is Lucy is not really a metalhead. She doesn't listen to metal. So every single album that we do on here is going to be her first experience.
Fresh take.
Very
really
fresh.
fresh take.
Yeah, from the mouths of babes over here.
Yes, please. What are they saying?
I feel like this is, like, obviously, it's probably actually the first metal album I've listened to all the way through. Like, forget about Metallica. The first metal album I've listened to all the way through.
This podcast is a mistake.
I'm so sorry.
What I probably got from it is, one, it's like, it feels like if Rodney Dangerfield decided to make a metal album.
No respect.
But, you know, I honestly, like, I didn't expect my first experience with metal to be so vulnerable. Like, he feels very... I don't know this man. I don't know who he is. I don't know his name. But whoever this man is who's singing to me... Like, it seems like he's being very vulnerable with me, and I don't like that, frankly. I wish he hadn't been so...
Yeah, because it's a 40-year-old
millionaire
man who went from being just like a shitty teenager to a rich teenager, and then remained that, and then was 40.
Oh, is that the story? He got rich when he was a teenager? Like, Metallica got famous when the lead singer was...
Yeah, they were babies.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Yeah, they couldn't have been more than like 21.
Yeah, like Metallica, they got famous so fast. It's kind of like if you got really famous doing the first thing you ever tried. There's just no way they matured like proper human beings. And then like Jeremy has actually seen. I've never seen the movie. You've seen the.
Oh yeah, well, and
you have the whole story behind actually the album.
And I've seen the movie, Some Kind of Monster, I don't know, maybe 20 times. It's the funniest thing ever put to film. Like, I genuinely would watch it over, like, Caddyshack.
Okay.
It's so funny.
Can you explain it? Because Lucy doesn't.
So Some Kind of Monster is a documentary about Metallica as they're going through turmoil. They lose their old bassist. They get a new bassist. In the midst of this, they're trying to make a new record that they're trying to like reinvent themselves with, you know, and they're like, this is going to be unlike anything else we've ever done before, and it's going to be really edgy and weird. And then they get a therapist. They get a band therapist. And
Wait,
like,
that makes so much sense because at
Yeah.
one point it's like
Yeah.
weirdly aspirational. Like he's talking about how he wants his anger to be healthy.
yes. Okay, so
Yeah.
part of the documentary, this is one of my favorite
Jeremy's
parts.
eyes just lit up.
I can talk about this movie for years. I genuinely can.
You've got 2 more minutes.
Okay. The best part of the movie, they go to Alcatraz to film the video for St. Anger.
What?
Because you've seen the video, right?
Yeah.
They're playing at Alcatraz, but like not like a Johnny Cash thing where it's like for the prisoners, where they're like the crowd. It's like they're in the hallway playing, and you can see everybody is still locked up. But they're at the prison and they're filming, and then there's a scene where they go out on the quad, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And they set up a little stage, and all of these prisoners are all standing and watching James Hetfield on stage. And he's just like, listen, guys, you know, like this record is all about my anger. You know, you guys can't let your anger control you. And like, that's why you're here. And then like, you could just see like a black guy in the back just like, I just got some trumped up charges from shoplifting and I've been here for way too long.
I just really want to know how you become a metal therapist because I feel like this might be my true calling.
Yeah, you're pretty much the therapist every time we have like a writer's meeting.
Yeah, I feel like my whole life has taught me how to manage upset white men who love to yell. I feel like I could just, sit them down and just like really work through it. Send me all of them, except for Slayer.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being a prisoner and your life is already so restricted, and now you have to work around a music video shoot. It's just like, can I go to the bathroom? Can you just wait until we finish the scene, please, sir?
Katie, do you have an experience with this album?
I do, and it's very funny because it's very directly connected to Jeremy. I don't have a ton of memories about this specific album, honestly, but so 2003, to really get into it, is I had very bad taste in 2003. Shocker. And I will out myself on this podcast as a very large supporter of nu metal. I'm not ashamed.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Don't at me unless you want to talk about nu metal rules. But so
At her anyway.
but even in the depths of my like shitty music taste, when that album dropped, I'm like, I think this might be garbage. And I have a very distinct memory of being at my art summer camp, which I attended with Jeremy. And,
Only 10 minutes in.
Yep.
We've already talked about art camp.
and we had a swimming pool there, and you had a choice to go in the swimming pool, but we were at art summer camp, so we did not go in the swimming pool.
Yeah, there's
Instead-
never been an emptier swimming pool in the world.
So we sat outside in the benches outside of the swimming pool, and I have a memory of all of us taking turns making fun of James Hetfield. It's just being like, Saint Anger, making our faces and being just like, yeah, that adult man has complex feelings he doesn't know how to deal with. It's probably, honestly, that's the last time I listened to that album. I forgot we were going to do this.
Drew listened to this album at the gym.
Well, first of all, let me introduce myself. Drew Kaufman, the bad boy of the group. I am the only
His
one.
hood's up and
My hood is up. I'm inside and my hood is up. My head is cold because I am bald. Well, let me preface this because I do have a story that I think is very funny, which is that this album came out in 2003, and that was the first time I was allowed to go to New York City by myself. I grew up upstate, and so I went with my friend Kevin. We took train down. We were pretty young, but we went to Chinatown, and this is back when in Chinatown you could buy very easily buy bootleg DVDs and CDs. I'm sure you still can, but I don't really look anymore. And so there was someone selling bootleg CDs, and there was Saint Anger, and I knew that I wanted it, and this thing in my head told me, you know what you should do is you should steal it, because you can steal bootleg things, because that's a crime, and it's not a crime if you steal a crime. So I tried... I tried to steal it, so I grabbed the bootleg Saint Anger, and then I walked away, and then the salesperson stopped me, and they were just screaming "thief, thief, thief" at me, and I'm like, I guess I was 14. I don't know how old I was, but I was
What is this,
terrified.
Aladdin?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
This is
I was threatened with a scimitar. No, but
this is a Disney cartoon, but with nonsense.
Yeah, it was weird. I got scared and I paid them. I just handed them a 10 and ran away, and it was like $5. I
What
paid
a traumatic
double.
start.
So there is this in the back of your head thinking, oh, this album should be good. And lo and behold, we went home and we listened to that album. And we made it into 2 songs and said, this sucks, and never listened to it again.
Yeah, listening to this entire album was a task. It took a couple of days. Every song is 10 minutes.
I do want to say something though, because the goal of this was to try and find something that you liked about it. And it was hard.
It was really hard.
It was hard. I found
Maybe
myself.
for you guys.
I was fuck
you. Jeremy is the most contrarian person we know on the planet. So every one of these podcast episodes is going to be a battle.
Oh, you'll see.
So you talk about having spent days trying to listen to this. I spent days actually listening to this. I listened to it probably 10 times in the week
Front
since we
to back?
decided to do this.
Why?
Oh my God.
Well, let me say my good point, because I only have one.
Okay.
There's a lot of bad things I could say. I could tell you about how I used it as a motivator to make me run faster. It's one more song and then I can drink water. But what's interesting is that it was like a time machine. I looked back and I realized okay, this album came out in 2003. The last thing that those guys put out was in 97 or 98. So it was a while since they put things out.
Yeah.
In that time frame, 2 major things happened. 1, Napster, and they got made fun of on South Park. 2, Papa Roach won a Grammy. Everybody forgets that.
Oh my God, you're right.
In 1999, Papa Roach won a Grammy. That's only 2 years after their last album. So what this was to me was a bunch of older guys. They probably at this point had to have been at least their mid-30s, you know? And Papa Roach was still young and fresh. They weren't even Papa Roaches yet. They were just
teenage roaches.
Uncle Roaches. I'm going to kill myself for that joke.
Yeah,
but this is a bunch of old men who used to be on the top of the world. This is them trying to fight to be relevant and trying to say, okay, we're going to make that kind of music that these kids like, but we're going to do it our way and we're going to reinvent it. And they really tried to reinvent the wheel, which is probably why it's so bad. But I got to give them fucking credit, because I've never heard anything like that album before, and I probably will never hear anything like that again.
This leads into, I'm going to just start because this leads into my actual positive point. Every single thing on that album, the concept of writing is actually used by now Grammy, it's what Kurt Ballou does. Their concept of we're going to write an album with out a click track and it's going to pretend like it's the first time we do that's what Mutoid Man does.
Yeah.
They do one take and that's the album. They did every single thing that modern hardcore bands are making careers on and producing pitchfork beloved albums. But the difference is they just weren't talented enough at the time. They did the worst possible version of it.
I don't think it's that they weren't talented enough at the time. I think if you watch the movie, you kind of understand this about them, which is that they were tormented people at that point. They hate each other so goddamn much. There's a scene in it where they're working on one of the songs and James is playing a guitar part and then Lars is playing this absurd beat. It makes no sense. It's it doesn't even sound like a beat. It just sounds like somebody just fucking around on a drum. And James stops. He's like, can you play a fucking beat? And Lars says something yeah, I could, but I just think the guitar sounds kind of stock. And then James is like, what does that mean? He's like, I don't know, it sounds stock. And they like get into an argument over what the word stock means. And you're watching this, you're like, they were never going to make an album that was any good. They can't even communicate about a word. They can't figure out a song.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I say talented, like Metallica is a talented band. They can all play, except for like Lars. They can all play competently. Lars clearly cannot, especially on this album. You're like, what the fuck is happening? Like,
But give the
I've
dude,
never heard double
give the
bass.
dude some credit though, because one thing is when the double bass comes in, you're like, the bass tone on his double bass is actually really awesome. When it
just
comes in,
thuds,
kinda cool.
man.
Yeah, but it's kind of cool because no one ever fucking did that before.
It just felt like, I don't know, the dude really wanted to be like Neil Peart or some shit. But then also, yeah, the Papa Roach thing was really eating away at him because double bass pedal rules.
It's awesome. The double bass in the songs is cool. No other part of the drums is good. Like, I mean, everybody
the
talks
snare
about.
sounds like a cardboard box.
Lucy, this was your first time listening to it. Did you notice anything weird about the drums?
No, not in particular, but I have to say, acknowledging that I have no frame of reference for it, I really enjoyed the album. I like listening to it.
Hell yeah! Really? Hell yeah! Really?
Yeah,
Hell yeah!
I like listening to it. Because, I don't know enough about music to really pinpoint something like that was weird or that was weird. I just know like the feeling that I get after listening to something. And the feeling that I got after listening to this album was like having a conversation with somebody who you thought you cared about because, you thought you cared about because, they're opening up to you in some way, but you're uncomfortable with the fact that they're opening up to you and you wish it would stop. But it's like that in itself is kind of like, it's an interesting feeling for an album to leave you with. It was introspective in a way, but in a way that was obviously like way too transparent.
Yeah, no metaphor on this album.
Absolutely no.
Excuse me. I do believe the monster is a metaphor. I don't know what for. They're putting together a monster.
No real symbolic value in the album. But at the same time, I was like, there's something a little bit unguarded about it that I didn't expect and that I enjoyed listening to.
I'm really looking forward to all the incensed men that are going to send you album recommendations.
Oh, yeah. No, you shouldn't have tipped your hand.
They're going to be like, oh, how dare this woman enjoy this album? Haven't you let me send you a list. Let me help you. So, like, for that, I truly apologize.
Actually, I kind of want you to piss them off. I think it would be really funny if, I don't want to give you too much music homework. Will you listen to, like, Ride the Lightning all the way through? Like, it's a famous Metallica album, and then I want to see what you think of that being the second Metallica after Saint Anger.
In my mind, Saint Anger is always the first Metallica album. Like, it's always, even though I know logically that linearly it came later, like it will always be that's where they started.
It's so different. I want to know if this, like, if you think it's bad because of hearing Saint Anger first.
I will say that there are several songs that because I don't want to sound like a total idiot here. Nothing Else Matters is Metallica, right?
Yes.
Okay, that is Metallica. There are several songs on Saint Anger that I would say, that I can say genuinely, I like more than Nothing Else Matters.
Oh, 100%.
I would say that every song on Saint Anger I like more than Nothing Else Matters.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, you know what? I wanted to
For
get
Whom
excited.
the Bell Tolls is pretty cool, but have you heard Invisible Kid?
Invisible Kid.
It's the worst song on the album. I had to look it up. It's so forgettable.
Oh yeah. Do you guys have like a most bearable song on the album?
The last
On
song.
Saint Anger?
Because then I get to turn it off.
Shut up.
I actually think the title track. I think Saint Anger is probably the best song on the album.
I
agree.
disagree completely. I think it's the worst song on the album. I listened to that song and I was like, this is so many different, messy, awful things. I think the actual guitar riff is so bad. The verse, when it just gets calm, is bad. The chorus, which is so in another, like the is a terrible riff. It sounds like the first guitar riff.
Yeah,
ever.
but when he goes like, I'm madly in anger with you, don't you kind of wish it was you that he was singing about?
Here's the true gift that comes with watching the movie, and I really recommend everybody watch the movie. There's scenes for almost every one of those like clunky lines on the record. There's a moment where James says out loud, "You know, it's like my lifestyle determines my death style." And then literally Bob Rock is like, "Everybody stop what you're doing." And he's like, "Write that down." Kirk's like, "It's like poetic."
Most bearable song. Katie, do you have a most bearable song?
Honestly, no, because it's a pretty bad album. I have a hard time with it, I'm not going to lie. So that's why I've been kind of sitting this one out.
That's fair.
I don't have a lot of positive.
I think Dirty Window, is that the one with all
Yes.
that's the one with all the double bass pedal. That's really cool.
Yeah, Dirty Window, I realized, I was like, this sounds like Last Night in Town by Every Time I Die. But the thing about Last Night in Town is that, like, number one, Andy didn't know how to play guitar yet, and they recorded it to tape or something.
Yeah.
And also they had like chaotic bird vocals and not like a grown man trying to excite people who own Harley Davidsons.
Yeah. But wait, real quick. So I had to like pull up the album because I can't remember any of the names. These are the worst names for songs
yeah.
ever. Dirty Window, Invisible Kid, My World, Shoot Me Again, Sweet Amber, The Unnamed Feeling, Purity, and then the end track.
If you had to guess what the unnamed feeling is.
The unnamed feeling is when you sit on the toilet too long, like reading Twitter, and you get up and your legs are asleep, and you have to kind of stumble around and like hopefully no one sees you like walking weird out of the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
It happens.
Lucy, what's the unnamed feeling?
The unnamed feeling is that kind of like sensual sensation that you get when you realize that someone is madly in anger with you.
I want to give a shout out also to this album for the weird background hardcore vocals that should be gang vocals, but it's literally just James doing a low voice like you flush it out.
Oh yeah, that's
What
not
the
him.
fuck is
that's
that?
not him. That's Kirk.
That's
Kirk? Him. Yeah. The best is when you see like videos of them playing that live because like it took so much studio magic to make him not sound like Satchmo in the videos of them playing it live. He's just like, "You flush it out, you flush it out," and you're like, he has the gentlest little voice in real life, and then he sings like fucking Louis Armstrong.
Yeah, wait, they also they consciously decided not to do solos on this album,
Yeah.
right? Why?
I don't know, but there's
Lucy, did you miss the solos? Did you want solos?
Did you want guitar solos in this music?
Oh, I never want any solos. I feel like, what's the point of being in a band if you're gonna do solos?
you're gonna hate Ride the Lightning.
I am so excited.
I was going to say that I remember a positive about this album, take this at what you were. It was the first Metallica album that I ever felt like I could play. Because I could barely play any instrument, but, I was in, like, stupid punk bands and stuff, and I was like, this is my time. I can do it.
So has everyone here been in a band?
Yes.
Oh wow, yeah, everybody. Oh wow, okay,
Yeah.
very interesting. Just a bunch of
Is
cool.
it
Wait,
though?
better question. Has anyone here ever been in a good band?
No.
No.
And we talk a lot of shit about a band that has way more money than God.
I mean, yeah, but that's what we're doing. No, we're trying to be positive about it. We didn't do that.
Yeah.
I think I
Here's
will
my-
say
I've got a positive. You guys know this. I've told you this before, Jordan, which is that I actually genuinely like Saint Anger. I don't think it's listenable.
what? What does this mean?
You like it like a painting.
Yes, exactly. I like it like a painting. I love it like a painting or like a conceptual film or something like that where you watch it and you're like, I don't think I'll watch it again, but you watch it and you're like, you're seeing theme, you're seeing ideas, and you're watching it, you're like, this is very successful at what they're trying to do, just what they're trying to do isn't enjoyable.
Jeremy.
Right. No.
Jeremy.
That you're explaining why like people enjoy watching The Room, which is different than actually liking something.
No.
You can appreciate the disaster that it is.
Jeremy, I think you might have drank too much water at the pool at the art camp.
I don't think this is an unreasonable thing to say. What I'm saying is that they came in there with a concept and a vision. And as people who make art, you understand how hard it is to come up with a concept and vision and to stick with it and to like not compromise on it at all. And they came in with the idea of this is going to sound like we got together in a garage and we played for the first time and we just happened to be Metallica. And it works. It sounds exactly like that. It just isn't good.
Jeremy.
Yeah, no, this is you're like somebody trying to apologize for the Matrix sequels. Like you're just like, well,
I like the second Matrix.
What do you think the point of music is?
Lucy, go first.
That is the best. That is the best. Thank you, Katie.
Oh my God.
Lucy, you go first.
What's the point of music?
Yeah.
Oh fuck. Oh man, if I don't answer right, are they gonna take music away?
No, I just need to. I just need to hear like an answer that makes sense before Jeremy spews some garbage.
I feel like it's like to listen to it, and I feel like on some level the point of music is to be enjoyable. So I think that's what's confusing me.
Thank you.
Like you're saying, like I get it's like you're saying like you like it like conceptual film, but like who likes conceptual film?
No, nobody does. Nobody likes conceptual film, and nobody likes chairs he can't sit in. But you look at like a weird chair, and you're like, that's cool. That looks great. I'm not gonna sit in that chair. But I really think it's
So you're
cool
saying that
someone made this chair.
Saint Anger is the Un Shen An Lu of
Yes.
of metal, which I don't want to watch someone get their eye sliced open. I'd rather just listen to Ride the Lightning and leave me alone.
It's Duchamp's Fountain. You
Fuck
know?
off.
They were the first ones to say.
Get the fuck out of here.
No, shut it down. Shut it down. We do not bring Duchamp into this podcast. Fuck Duchamp. No. I have a degree. This metaphor's over.
Metaphor is.
Katie and I are both SVA dropouts. You leave me the fuck alone.
Katie got her. Oh no, you didn't get your degree.
No, I never.
I got
never
my
went to
SVA
graduate
degree, and
Me
I
neither.
agree. You need to stop it. All right, that does it for this week's podcast. Join us again in 2 weeks. We're going to be trying to review Megadeth Super Collider. Plugs, everybody plugs. Jeremy.
Yeah. You can find me on Twitter at Jeremy Thunder, and you can check out my other podcast with Katie. It's called Ballin' Out Super. It's about Dragon Ball Super and also leftist politics and other stuff. And you could listen to the episodes we've had Drew Kaufman and Jordan Olds on, and hopefully soon we'll have Lucy also.
Yay. You can find me at the Steinbag on Twitter, and on May 1st, I'm going to be headlining at Franklin's in Burlington, Vermont.
That rules. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Katie?
You can find me at Katie Rose on Twitter and at Oh Hello Katie Rose on Instagram. Yes, listen to my stupid anime podcast with Jeremy Hammond and watch the show I write for that this podcast is for. I started to say it and I forgot it was for this.
Hey friends, Drew Kaufman, the bad boy here. Just going to let you guys know that we've got a Patreon, which you probably know about if you're listening to this, but anything helps us make our show. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, diet_Hellboy. I take a lot of photos, mostly of this show.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram at Dr. Mayer and on Twitter at Mr. Jordan Olds. Please watch 2 Minutes to Late Night. The second episode of the season is coming out on May 7th. So keep an eye out for that. It's with our guest is Contessa Stuto. She is a Brooklyn rapper and probably the coolest nightmare I've ever hung out with. Thanks so much. Bye.
Bye.